Yo, what's up guys? C-Jax back with another video, and I'm actually in a pretty good mood right now, okay? Just got some Uber Eats, I'm sitting back, I had some McNuggets from McDonald's, I had some fries. The Smackdown episode was actually pretty decent overall, it was kind of solid. Now, the more we get into this review, I may end up hating it, right, and thinking it's absolute garbage after I break it down, but as of right now, the episode I think was pretty solid, right? So let's go ahead and start off with what happened first. This was awful. Nia Jax cut an absolute garbage promo at the end of the day, right? All Nia Jax does is cut the same promo. Just like I keep saying about all these different wrestlers. The quote-unquote stars and the champions in this, this company, they don't do anything, right? They don't contribute anything. So Nia Jax, as expected, comes out and basically says this: I want the woman's crown jewel title. I want it and I'm gonna get it. I got the queen of the ring. I am the women's champion. I am a robot. I am having one of the worst months of my career. I'm an awful champion. That's pretty much the summing up of this segment, of this promo, right, of what she was basically talking about. It's boring, it's nonsensical, and quite frankly, nobody cares about either of the Crown Jewel Championships. Let's just be honest here, right? Then after this, Liv Morgan interrupts and basically says, the obvious stuff that she always says, the same promo as well. Let's go ahead and do a little Liv Morgan here. Rhea, Naya, Naya. I'm the world champion because I beat Rhea Ripley. Hey. Like, dude, shut up, man. Alright, it's getting annoying, right? I'm in a good mood tonight, so I'm not going to be that upset, right? But this is like, we already know how I feel about this Liv Morgan promo garbage. It's horrendous. It's awful. Liv Morgan gets paid to wrestle mid-matches like she does with Tiffany Stratton shortly after this. We'll get into that in a second. She gets paid to wrestle mid-matches and cut bad promos and say the same words every week. Right? And you can say the same thing I just said for her. You can say for like 80% of the roster. They're paid to do nothing. But anyways, that's not the point. She basically says, Nia, I'm going to beat you tomorrow for the Crown Jewel title, blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares. Rhea, Rhea, Rhea. I have Dirty Dom. I'm so this, I'm so that. Nobody cares. Then Tiffany Stratton comes out and interrupts both of them. And pretty much Tiffany Stratton says, I'm going to be cashing in my money in the bank. And again, this promo, this first segment is actually really worse than I thought it was. I thought it was bad, but it's actually horrendous now that I think about it. Tiffany Stratton and Liv Morgan and like Chelsea Green, all these other stereotypical promo cutters, these women that have the same exact personality, right? It's getting annoying because it's boring. Everyone comes out there and they're always crying. They're always whining. It's kind of like a Cody Rhodes promo, but worse because they all have the same accents, like, well, let me tell you this. It's Tiffy time, and I'm going to cash in on you, Liv. I'm going to cash in on you too, Nia. Don't you think you're safe? And Tiffany plays it off later. She's like, oh, I was just trying to get her to think that I would cash in on you, Nia. I would never do that. I was just trying to trick Liv Morgan. And I'm like, dude, then Liv Morgan and Tiffany wrestle an awful match. It's awful. And before the match starts, Tiffany's like, can I get your title, Liv? Because if I cash in on you, does Dirty Dom come with you? Or come with the title? Because I need some dirty in my life. What are you talking about? You need some dirty in your life. What does that even mean anymore at this point, right? It's just very weird. Then Tiffany and Liv wrestle like a 5-minute match that ends up going nowhere. It's got a couple botches and like no really good moves because Liv Morgan's not that good in the ring. And Tiffany Stratton right now, I mean, she's good in the ring, I guess, but she hasn't really been showing anything in the ring special in a long time. So, I mean, I don't really know what to say about this. It was a mid-match. Afterwards, Liv gets the briefcase. She hits Tiffany with it and goes around and, I guess tries to use it to hit everyone else. But then Nia just absolutely comes in and squashes her and squashes Raquel and even hits Dom in the head. So, that's pretty much the end of this segment. Then after this, we get the Street Profits versus Pretty Deadly. Again, I don't care about this because the Street Profits are better than this. The Street Profits are extremely talented. They wrestle great matches, they're charismatic, and they're consistent. And they're on the younger side of the roster. They have everything you need to at least be a good mid-carder or an upper mid-carder in WWE. They have everything you need. Everything. They're over with the crowd, everything. But it doesn't matter because WWE and Triple H are morons. So they're going to treat the Street Profits like they're jobbers. So that's why they're fighting Pretty Deadly. They win, and B-Fab randomly is doing a power slam to one of the Pretty Deadly members, which was pretty cool to see, honestly. I didn't expect it, but, at least she's contributing something, right? So anyways. Then after this, you get an awful match again. Nia Jax versus Bayley Nia Jax and Bayley, versus Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae. This match is garbage. It's absolute garbage. There's botches. There's missed moves. It's all slow. These wrestlers now, like Bayley, Naomi, and like people like that, and Indy Hartwell, which, by the way, this is Indy Hartwell's last match, I believe, because her, Baron Corbin, and like Tegan Knox and a couple other people were fired today. So breaking news. Just want to give you guys that report. All of them have actually been fired from WWE. So that tier list vid I did where I said that Baron Corbin and Indy Hartwell would be fired immediately, well, there you go. If I tell you grass is going to turn into cheese, go find some crackers, because your boy C-Jax is not lying. Now anyways, let's get back into this video. This match was awful. Candice LeRae ends up botching a moonsault near the end of it, and then after she botches this and goes for the pin on Bayley, who's not the legal woman in the match, Naomi comes in, hits her with the rear view, 1, 2, 3, match is over. Do you care? Do I care? No. So let's move on to the best part of the night, which was the Bloodline segment, baby. Roman Reigns and Big Jim Uso come out. Massive pop, great reaction. The crowd was dead all show up until this point pretty much, right? And when Roman and Jimmy came out, the crowd erupted. They finally acted alive. They basically went from dead to being alive again, right? They woke up, everything was back. They get in the ring, and Jimmy basically tells Roman straight up this, right? In order to be prepared for this Crown Jewel match, and in order to be our strongest bloodline like we could, like we can be, and like we used to be, you have to make amends with Jey Uso, right? You have to come up, you have to make up with him, and you have to squash the beef. And the whole crowd's chanting, squash the beef, you know? And so Jimmy basically tells them, we have to fix this, right? And if we fix this, we can take care of Solo in the new bloodline and reign back like we used to do back in 2023, 2022, etc. You get what I'm saying? Now, after Jimmy says this, Roman basically just puts his hand out like he always does and tells Jimmy, just give me the mic, bro. Just, you know what I'm saying? Just put the fries in the bag like Andrade, which we're going to get to something with Andrade, Carmelo Hayes, and LA Knight later. Their promos, or their little video segment was absolutely incredible and it was hilarious. So we're going to get to that later. But anyways, Roman is about to get the mic put in his hand by Jimmy, and then Jey Uso's music erupts, and he comes out, he enters through the crowd, and, they're yeeting for about a whole, 5 minutes. I mean, this dude is the most over babyface in the company, besides his cousin, Roman Reigns, right? These are the two biggest babyfaces in the entire company, right? And it's fitting that the two best babyfaces and the two, hottest stars in WWE today are the two people who are part of the same bloodline and are the two people who have no gold. They have no belts, and they're still the main characters in the entire company and in the entire storyline. It's that simple. When I tell you that the Bloodline and Roman Reigns is the last megastar in WWE, I'm not lying. Look at what the Bloodline is breeding. It's breeding stars. Solo Sikoa is eventually going to become a upper mid-carder, I guarantee you, or at least a mid-carder. Jacob Fatu will probably become a solid mid-carder or an upper-carder, right? Well, I don't know about upper mid-carder, but, hey, we'll see what happens with that, right? But he's breeding guys. This Bloodline story, Paul Heyman, Roman, they breed so much talent and they breed so much depth and character and storytelling that they're able to get so over with their gimmicks because they're just talented workers. Jey Uso's just a talented worker. And when you combine him with Roman and Jimmy, it's just a different level. It really is, man. The Bloodline is amazing. And, after Roman gets interrupted by Jey comes out and cuts a passionate promo, and he pretty much tells Roman this, right? This time around, if we're going to beat the Bloodline, we need to all be in unison. And instead of treating me like I'm just, a little person in your little tribe as your, my tribal chief, he basically says we all have to be treating each other as equals. There's no more of me playing your lackey or Jimmy playing your lackey. We all have to be equals and come together and beat and stop this new bloodline. And Jay's like, I can't even believe I'm standing in front of you, right? Because you destroyed me physically, destroyed me mentally, psychologically, all of these different things. You abused me and, and Jimmy to an extent. And because of all these things, we divided. But we can come back together because, families have problems and we can fight this out. Oos, you know what I'm saying? And so Jey cuts a really solid promo with that. And basically, at the end of all of this, Roman Reigns gets his opportunity to respond because Jey simply asks him, he's like, look, are you in or are you out? Are you going to be treating us as equals? Are we going to work together and fight and, beat this new bloodline? Or are you going to continue to be that, manipulative tribal chief that you used to be, pretty much is what he says, right? You're going to be going to your old ways, or you're going to be a new guy and be the best person you can possibly be. And Roman Reigns, who after being asked, obviously, be my brother, be my family member, you know what I'm saying? Jimmy Uso said a great line, actually. I forgot to mention this. Jimmy Uso says, in order for you to, move on, you need to stop treating Jey Uso like just, a little person in your story, but you need to treat him as a brother, our brother, right? So I thought that was a great line because he's basically saying, even though Roman's not directly brothers with Jey and Jimmy, he's saying they're all brothers in one, in unison. And Roman Reigns drops the yeet to Jey Uso. The crowd erupts. This was an awesome moment, and it's crazy how great the Bloodline is, that the Bloodline has become so good to the point where even a simple catchphrase like yeet, just the buildup of the amount of times Roman Reigns has said no yeet, or he's looked at Jey, or Jimmy in a corny way after they say yeet, and he's just not in unison with it because he treats them as lesser than him. To him to now humble himself and say the word yeet was a great comedic moment. It was a great pop for the crowd. It was a great, development of the story and his relationship with Jey and Jimmy this time around. And even after he says yeet, not after the crowd gets a big pop, you can see Jey smiling too as he's looking down, man, like, This was an absolutely awesome moment. That's what this storyline is all about, man. The Bloodline is all about specific moments. And when I tell you, tomorrow in Saudi Arabia at Crown Jewel, Sami Zayn is going to end up helping the OG Bloodline, and he may get one of the biggest pops of the year. Like, straight up. Once that happens, it's going to be absolutely absurd, and Sami Zayn, for the next few months, as he's a part of this Bloodline story, is going to be super over with the crowd. Super over. Just like 2022 all over again, right? But anyways, after this happens, they all raise their ones to the sky, massive pops, whole crowd putting their ones up, and you got Roman, Jay, and Jimmy. The OG Bloodline is reunited, and this is pretty much the main event of the night. That's why I'm spending so much time on it, because this is the biggest thing that happens all night, right? It's the Bloodline. This is all we care about. That 3v3 is likely going to main event tomorrow because Sami Zayn is likely going to get involved. So this was good. After this happens, we get an absolutely awesome Fatal 4-Way Women's match, bro. Bianca Belair, Io Sky, Lash Legend, who's doing a very, very solid job since coming up to the main roster from NXT. I mean, this just goes to show you my theory that it's not even a theory, it's just a fact at this point. I keep telling you guys, these NXT women, like 80 to 70% of them, are ready for the main roster. They just are. It's that simple. Because even though they can't cut great promos yet, no one on the main roster in the women's division is cutting good promos anyway, besides like Becky Lynch. That's it. So you don't, you know what I'm saying? You don't need to be able to cut great promos necessarily yet. They're all in their early 20s. They're super athletic. They're super talented in the ring. They don't botch many moves, and they're creative, and they would add a brand new flavor to the women's division, besides like the PFC and Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler. You get what I'm saying? Just like they were able to they just plucked Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson out of thin air and brought them up to the main roster. That's all they did. And it worked out. It's working. Lash Legend is really, powerful. She's big. She's imposing. She's believable in the ring. She has a decent moveset. Her finisher, named the Lash Extension, is very creative. You had great high-flying moves and selling from Io Sky. Io Sky is just absolutely incredible in the ring for the women's division, man. I mean, she's probably the best in-ring women's competitor in the company right now. And honestly, at this point, it's just evident, right? I'm honestly excited to see what happens when NXT starts bringing up their women's talent. Because, like, even for example, I think Julia is an overrated jobber. I think the same thing about Roxanne Perez. But comparatively speaking to the current women's main roster on, like, Raw and SmackDown, if these people were brought up, these women were brought up, they would be upper mid-carders in the division immediately. Immediately. Roxanne Perez is more talented than Chelsea Green. It's just that simple. Kalani Jordan, Sol Ruka, Jada Parker, Stephanie Vaquer, who is amazing in the ring. Like, all of these people are just simply, they're on that level, man. If you can wrestle amazing matches and you have appeal and you're somewhat over with the crowd, which I believe most of these NXT women would probably be able to do, like, it's insurmountable what the potential is for these younger talents. It really is, man. So I'm really looking forward to these people coming up to the main roster because I think these women are going to do great. I really do. I know I bash a lot of the women's division and stuff like that, but the younger talent they have, and even the, some of the mid-age talent, like Bianca's obviously, your Io Sky's, right? It's just, they're incredible, man. Jade Cargill is awesome. The presentation, she came out tonight kind of dressed like Anti-Venom or like Madam Web or some stuff like that. It was a very interesting outfit she was wearing, but it is what it is. Piper Niven was dressed as like an X-Men, for example, too, in this match. So, I mean, it is what it is, right? So, but yes, this match is great. I honestly don't even know what else to say about it. I mean, the selling was great. The aerial moves were great. You had like a power bomb that Bianca did to Piper Niven, who then like was doing like a Samoan drop on Io Sky at the same time. And then you had the Lash extension to Bianca. Bianca hit the Kiss of Death on Lash Legend, which was a pretty cool move. And then Io hits a moonsault to help finish it out. She hits a moonsault on Bianca after she hits Lash, and then goes for the pin. 1, 2, 3. Io Sky wins the Fatal 4-Way, man. This match was great from top to bottom, and it reminded me how great some of these women's wrestlers really are, man. We get fed to us the same narratives and the same stories and the same promos and segments with people like Rhea Ripley and like Liv Morgan, and you just get so tired and bored of it, man. Even Nia Jax, your Baileys, all these people, they're all boring and they're all garbage, man. It's time for a new agenda in the women's division, bro. We need to start bringing in the athletic wrestlers, the great wrestlers, the ones that have star power, the ones who are appealing in terms of the fact that they actually look imposing, they're believable in the ring, and the ones that actually get over with the crowd. This is the new era of women's wrestling that we need. Stephanie Vaquer, Kalani Jordan, Sol Ruka, even Roxanne Perez, all these different people. We need all of these people to start getting more shine in the women's division, man. Lash Legend, Dakara Jackson. This is talent. Talent is not Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark and Liv Morgan and like Nia Jax and, to an extent, Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley is super talented and she is, a star in terms of her draw ability and, her fame, obviously, with the WWE and everything. But in terms of actual talent and consistency, she keeps getting injured. She just got injured like 2 days ago. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the injuries, they are piling up, and then when Rhea Ripley is here, she only has 2 matches on Raw the entire year of 2024. You get what I'm saying? So the people who are consistently wrestling like Jade and Bianca and Io, man, I respect it. I can't wait to see the NXT Women's Division come up to the main roster, because these matches are about to be absolutely incredible, dog. Just trust me, bro. Women's Division's outlook is looking a lot better than the men's in certain aspects. I'll say that much. Because the men's division, if Cody Rhodes is the guy that's going to be there for you full week each week, and he's the top star when Roman's not there, you're in a bad spot, buddy. I'll tell you that much. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, now let's go ahead and get to the next segment, which was Melo, Andrade, LA Knight. This video segment section was absolutely amazing. It was amazing. It was hilarious. We'll get to that in a second. Andrade starts off the video segment. He's like, look, I'm tranquilo right now. You know what I'm saying? And Andrade is like, I'm tranquilo, because at the end of the day, he didn't necessarily lose Game 7. And he knows that he has a fair shot tomorrow to win that triple threat match and win the U.S. gold. And then Carmelo Hayes starts to talk, and this dude is just a straight up comedian at this point. He basically says, Andrade, you didn't beat me either in Game 7. And LA Knight, you're pretty much a clown, right? Basically he's paraphrasing everything. And he ends it off, and he's like, y'all know that I'm going to win tomorrow because I'm him. I'm going to show y'all what I'm really made of after you took my moment last week, right? And Carmelo Hayes ends it off. He's like, and Andrade, make sure you put, and then the camera like zooms in on his face. He's like, Andrade, put the fries in the bag and make sure there's extra ketchup on them. And then he smiles afterwards. Like, dude, this dude Carmelo Hayes is awesome, man. He is absolutely awesome. And LA Knight ends it off. You know he's going to cut a good promo. He basically says, the usual stuff. And they said you're going to get stomped out by the megastar and embarrassed and shown who the real top guy is by LA Knight. Yeah. So this is a really fun video segment, and I honestly really enjoyed it. Then we get to the main event match, and honestly, this was not a great match. It honestly was pretty slow, and it only lasted like 10 to 12 minutes. But at the end of the day, Cody Rhodes was wrestling, right? And so was Gunther. And this is Gunther's, I think, 3rd match in general, or 2nd match. It's either his 2nd or 3rd match in general since winning the World Championship on August 3rd at SummerSlam, right? I talked about this in another video. That's why I remember. It's August 3rd, right? Yeah, August 3rd at SummerSlam. This is Gunther's 3rd match since that day, bro, on live TV. His 3rd match. 3rd. And Cody Rhodes, this is like his 4th or 5th SmackDown match. And half of these matches he's doing on SmackDown in the last 8, 9 months in general on live TV. Cody's wrestled 4 or 5 matches, and all of them are pretty much just slow paced. Not many moves are happening. Kind of tag matches where he just pretty much gets to relax in the match. He's not doing anything crazy. He hit an absolutely awesome Super Cody Cutter though, which is my favorite move of his, and it looked pretty sick. It was sold greatly by Ludwig Kaiser or whoever he hit it on. I forget if it was Gunther or Ludwig, but that was pretty much the match, right? And then at the end of it, Orton hits Gunther with the RKO. Gunther rolls out of the ring, and then Kaiser gets hit with the Crossroads. 1, 2, 3, boom. Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes win. Again, this match was pretty much average, but it's good to see Randy out there with Cody and Gunther because these people don't wrestle, right? So now it's like, okay, this is actually pretty cool to see them wrestle at the end of the day, I suppose. But this match was nothing special, I'll be honest. And after this match, Kevin Owens attacks Randy Orton with a chair, hits him in the leg. And then after this happens, he distracts Cody Rhodes a bit because Cody Rhodes is like, holy crap, that's KO, bro. I think this dude wants to fight. And then Gunther comes up behind him, puts him in a sleeper hold, and then that's pretty much the end of the episode. It literally ends with Cody looking passed out and breathing super heavy, like it's in a horror movie. And that's pretty much it. Just cuts to black, and that's the end of your SmackDown. Overall, I enjoyed this episode. This was a solid episode. One could even go as far as to call it good if you really wanted to, right? Because comparatively speaking to the recent content we've gotten on Raw and SmackDown, this is a masterpiece compared to the garbage we've been getting, right? But obviously, as someone who saw WWE in the late 2000s and, in the 2010s, the early parts when it was actually good in the 2010s, right? I know that this episode would not even compare to the best of that era. So I have to give this episode, comparatively speaking, though, for its times, a 7 or a 7.5 out of 10. It's a pretty solid episode. One could even call it good. I enjoyed it. It had a couple, honestly, it had one great match and a couple cool segments like the Melo Andrade LA Knight video segment, and the Bloodline segment was awesome. And obviously, at the end of the day, this is not something we're going to get consistently. I'm sure next week's SmackDown is going to end up being awful. But hey, at least we got to see Cody and Gunther wrestle. Crown Jewel tomorrow. Stay tuned for the review. It will be out probably within a couple hours after the PLE ends. Most likely, I'll get that review out to you guys tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow night. And as always, I hope you guys have a phenomenal day. Feels good to finally enjoy an episode of SmackDown or Raw, man. I just keep trying to tell y'all, bruh. I'm not a full-blown hater, man. I don't want to criticize this stuff. I really don't. But when it's bad, it's bad. And when it's good like it was tonight, it's good. So I enjoyed it. I was entertained by it, and it's a significant step up from the content we've gotten the last few weeks. So I respect it. At the end of the day, thank you guys for watching. Hope you all have a phenomenal day. And as always, peace out. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, before I say peace out, the new saying I'm going to start saying at the end of these videos is one love. One love, like Bob Marley, bruh. One love.